This convention will come to order.
As the Republican convention kicked off, today's theme was Keep America Safe, spotlighting Donald Trump's promise of law and order to voters horrified by the deaths in Dallas, Baton Rouge, Orlando, and in Europe.
President Trump is the only one who's going to be tough on the terrorists and is going to provide law and order for this country that we badly need.
Well, I think people are looking for protection right now. I think that we're in a world that's very scary. I think we're looking for leadership.
It's like an awakening. They're finally figuring out who's watching their back and who's not. And I think Trump is going to be watching their back.
Trump himself comes to the convention tonight to introduce his wife Melania, who will praise him and praise veterans. But big-name Republicans are not speaking this week or attending because Trump is the nominee. No Bushes, no Mitt Romney, no John McCain. Ohio Governor John Kasich won't come to the convention in Cleveland, angering Team Trump.
Kasich, who frankly was invited to participate, I can't answer for what makes no sense. He's embarrassing the state, frankly.
Apparently to punish Ohio, that is a big swing state. Its delegation got stuck way over here on the side of the floor. 78% of Republicans in the NBC News poll worry their party is not united, which the delegates here hope they can fix this week. I'm Steve Handelsman, NBC News at the RNC in Cleveland.
And as the RNC continues, you can follow along by heading to WYFF4.com or by downloading our mobile app. There you will find a list of speakers for the convention and a list of notable Republicans not attending this year.
New on WYFF4, investigators looking for answers in the shooting death of a plastic surgeon.
Deputies say Frank McCutcheon was found dead inside his Buncombe County home. WYFF News' Myra Ruiz has more on the investigation.
Buncombe County deputies were called to this home on Treetop Drive in the Arden community just before 3:30 this morning. Deputies say that 64-year-old Frank Buddy McCutcheon was found shot to death. Now, according to the 911 call from his wife Brenda, she said somebody had entered the house. She wasn't so sure if the person was still there at the time.
My husband's been shot.
Okay, who shot him?
Miss Curry, I don't know. Somebody's having our house.
Okay, are they still there?
I don't know.
McCutcheon was a plastic surgeon whose practice was called Cosmetic Surgery of Asheville. A sign outside the office says the business is permanently closed. At this point, deputies are calling this case a suspicious death and say there's no threat to the public. Certainly a shock for the neighbors here who say they're not used to seeing emergency vehicles or media in the neighborhood. Myra Ruiz, WYFF News 4, Buncombe County.
That's when I was at the end of my rope. I felt like hopeless.
Ahead tonight, a Greenville County man who was in prison for 2 years for a crime he did not commit shares his story, why he says the public defender's office ignored his case.
And live Super Doppler 4HD showing very heavy thunderstorms that have marched right across downtown Spartanburg, now heading toward you folks in Pauline. More thunderstorms now in the southern part of Greenville County. Very electrical thunderstorms right on top of you folks in due west, and one developing between Abbeville and Greenwood. I'll be right back.
We are taking a look back on the last few weeks and the violence throughout our country. Today, we learn more about the 3 officers who were killed in Baton Rouge this weekend. Officers say Brad Garofalo, Matthew Gerald, and Montrell Jackson were killed by Gavin Long in an ambush-style attack. Long was a former Marine sergeant who served in Iraq.
Now, just 11 days ago in Dallas, 5 police officers were killed during a protest. The protest was in reaction to the recent officer-involved shootings. Authorities say the suspect, Micah Johnson, who is also a military veteran, told police he was targeting white officers after the shootings earlier this month in Minnesota and Baton Rouge.
The Minnesota incident happened just a day earlier in a suburb of St. Paul. Philando Castile was in the car with his girlfriend and was shot by an officer. Castile's girlfriend, Diamond Reynolds, live streamed the shooting on Facebook. She said he was shot while reaching for his ID after telling the officer he had a gun permit and was armed. The officer behind that shooting is now on administrative leave.
And on July 5th, police shot and killed Alton Sterling outside of a Baton Rouge convenience store. Police said Sterling was armed, and an eyewitness said Sterling had a gun in his pocket. The shooting was captured on video and quickly spread online. It then sparked protests in the city. Right now, the officers behind that shooting are also on administrative leave.
Now we're having a conversation with community leaders from right here in the upstate on how we can come together and stop this violence.
So Terra Community Development Executive Director Jerry Blassingame is joining us now. Jerry, we want to thank you so much for being here with us this afternoon.
Thank y'all for having me.
Now, people who have been in jail, people who need jobs, you have been there to help them get back on their feet. You know the community. What are they saying?
Wow, people are confused. There's a lot of fear. A lot of people, especially young black men who come to my office, they're fearing for their lives. And I've talked to a lot of my white friends, they're confused. They don't know how to talk to black people. And so we're having real conversations, with all of my friends about what are we to do, with all these tragedies that are going on in America today.
Is there a way to fix this? What have come out of those conversations?
Well, everything can be fixed. We're the greatest country in the nation. We can fix it. We have to be honest and have honest, open conversations and talk. I was invited to a church, all-white church, last Sunday, to talk about this matter. And I thank God that they were gracious enough to have me in, and they asked the hard questions, and I said some of the hard things to them that they need to know, and we need to know also.
So people sitting at home watching you right now, what advice do you give them on how they can bring about change? Well,
we have to be active in the community. Today, I was working with one of my guys. I run a transitional housing program for guys who are getting out of prison. It's a 49-year-old man who doesn't know how to use a drill. So if we take time with people just to be patient and talk with them, especially a lot of black men, I grew up without a father. And a lot of these men who are doing these activities, it's a breakdown of the family. And so if you're at home today, you need to get involved in the community, go volunteer somewhere, find somebody who don't have a father, mentor some young child, to help these people, these young kids, have a better way of living.
Jerry Blassingame, thank you so much for coming in and speaking with us and being so open. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
Now your live Super Doppler 4 HD weather forecast.
And you can see in live Super Doppler 4 HD, those thunderstorms, very electrical. Look at all the lightning strikes associated with these thunderstorms. A cluster of them over parts of Spartanburg County, southern Greenville County, and also Anderson County now moving into Abbeville counties. And then off to the northwest, everything's fairly quiet. So you can see these thunderstorms. They developed in the mountains, and then they started to slid off the mountains into the upstate. They are moving southeast and south at about 15 miles per hour. So they're not moving very quickly. The biggest problem with these thunderstorms is not going to be just the same thunderstorms that'll pass by you if you are upstream, because that's not going to be the case. What happens is these thunderstorms kind of fall apart, and as they do, the outflow boundary, what we call the downdrafts, act like little mini cold fronts, and as they kind of fan out, other thunderstorms develop around those clusters of thunderstorms. So they could develop just about anywhere. So really south of I-85 will be the main focal point as we go through this evening. So if you live south of I-85, you folks in Union, Lawrence, Greenwood, watch out for these thunderstorms because they could redevelop. If they fall apart, other thunderstorms could develop very close to you. So north of I-85, just a couple of scattered showers around you folks in Clayton, and that's really about it. But let's go ahead and zoom in. So very heavy thunderstorms over you folks in due west. A lot of heavy rain. It's coming down in buckets. A lot of lightning, some gusty winds, but only a slight chance of some hail associated with these thunderstorms. Another thunderstorm with this outflow boundary from this one in due west that I was talking about. This one actually redeveloped between Abbeville and Greenwood, and so it could slide down into Greenwood. And then here's the heavy thunderstorm now moving down Highway 25 in southern Greenville County. Eventually, it could make its way into Princeton. Greenville, this is the thunderstorm that actually developed over downtown Greenville, slid through parts of the Golden Strip area, now sliding down into the southern part of Greenville County. And Pauline, here's the very heavy rain associated with this thunderstorm, also now into the city of Spartanburg and especially east of Spartanburg. Very heavy thunderstorms, lots and lots of lightning, and maybe even some pea-sized hail associated with this thunderstorm. This is Saturday night. You had some major flooding in through parts of Spartanburg all the way over into southwestern part of Cherokee County, and now the second time in 3 days, very heavy thunderstorms over Spartanburg. Live shot from up on top of Paris Mountain, and there's downtown Greenville there in the background, and there's those heavy thunderstorms, the dark clouds off to the south. And that's the thunderstorms I'm talking about in southern Greenville County around Princeton. 90 in Greenwood, 93 in Newberry. So where it's hot, that's where it's dry. Where you see the cooler temperatures, you've had at least a recent shower or thunderstorm. A little bit of a breeze, but kind of a variable wind, especially if you're close to some of the thunderstorms. Humidity levels remaining extremely high across the area. Dew point temperatures in the 70s. That is steamy and muggy conditions outside right now. It is tough. 94 right now in Columbia, 91 in Hilton Head, 90 degrees currently in Greensboro. So nationally, look at all the severe thunderstorm watch boxes from the nation's capital, all the big cities up and through the Northeast under severe thunderstorm watches. No watches for us, even though a few of those thunderstorms could be strong. Look at the heat really building up out here in the Midwest and into the plains, and that's going to arrive here toward the end of the week for us. Tonight, scattered evening showers and thunderstorms, low 74 degrees, 66 for the overnight low in the mountains with some patchy fog late. Tomorrow, hot and humid with scattered thunderstorms developing earlier than today, I think, or pretty much between noon and 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Same story for the mountains. 40% chances a weak cold front comes in from the northwest. And that front could settle to our south on Thursday, Friday into the weekend, which means drier conditions, but also hotter temperatures. We could be pushing 100 degrees by this weekend. Umbrella winner for tonight. Congratulations to Sam Hayes from Pickens. We'll be right back.
In tonight's For Your Health, a medical mystery. How did a man who died after being infected with the Zika virus pass it on to a caregiver? It happened out in Utah. No sexual contact. No mosquitoes that carry the virus live in that area. The man who died had traveled to an area abroad known for Zika, and he becomes the first person in the continental U.S. to die from this disease. If you're an athlete, you run the risk of injury. If you're a woman athlete, you face a unique set of issues. Research has shown women who play sports have higher rates of osteoporosis, eating disorders, and menstruation problems. Now, a new report suggests pediatricians start looking for symptoms of these conditions during adolescence, an important time for bone mass development. Early warning signs include a lack of menstruation, low bone density, cardiovascular problems, or not consuming enough calories. Pediatricians are also being urged to look for signs of substance abuse among parents of their patients. That's because these children are at risk for developmental delays, mental health problems, and behavior problems. They are also more likely to begin abusing drugs and alcohol themselves. Research shows many parents who screen positive for substance abuse are open to getting help. And another study urges parents to keep an eye on the amount of violence their children see on TV and in video games. Studies show virtual violence can foster aggressive behavior and make kids more fearful. Experts suggest parents watch games and movies with their children, set limits for screen time, and prevent children under 6 from viewing any violent media.
A Greenville County man spends almost 2 years behind bars for a crime he didn't commit, while he's blaming the public defender's office.
Coming up, jailed for 2 years for a crime he didn't commit. Meet the man who waited for freedom behind bars.
Plus, warm weather and a drought, why this may equal more bear sightings in the upstate.
Live local breaking news with Nigel Robertson, Gabrielle Komorowski, and weather with Chief Meteorologist John Cesarich. This is WYFF News 4 at 5.
New tonight, a Greenville County man spent almost 2 years behind bars for a crime he didn't commit. Demetrius Sims was accused of robbing a pizza restaurant in July of 2014.
WYFF News 4's Brennan McDavid found out why Sims blames the public defender's office for keeping him behind bars.
711 days.
That's how long Demetrius Sims spent in jail.
I miss my kids and my grandkids a lot.
Sims was charged with armed robbery. He is disabled and couldn't afford an attorney, so the court appointed him a public defender.
They at no time tried to help me, at no time.
His first public defender resigned. Sims says his second only visited him once or twice in jail.
Yeah, I did kind of get real depressed, but I didn't give up.
Sims says he wrote several letters to Greenville County Chief Public Defender John Malden, but never got a response back.
Well, at some points I was feeling like we was in a third world country, because it's like you have constitutional rights and nobody's trying to help me exercise those rights.
I went to the public defender's office to speak with Malden. He wouldn't go on camera, but he had this to say. The evidence against Mr. Sims was in the possession of the solicitor from the very beginning. It was the intention of the public defender to vigorously defend Mr. Sims on these charges. The solicitor opposed a request by the public defender's office for bond reduction for Mr. Sims. This meant that he had to remain in jail until the charges were disposed of. Eventually, Sims's third court-appointed attorney met with the prosecutor to go over evidence.
10 days before his case was supposed to go to trial, the charges were dismissed, and Sims left the Greenville County Detention Center an innocent man. It's been 2 weeks since Demetrius Sims walked out of these doors, but he says in many ways he still feels like he's in prison.
I stay in the house a lot. I don't really want to go out nowhere because I still feel like how they did that, you know, it could happen again. I don't want to trust that.
In Greenville, Brenna McDavid, WYFF News 4.
We also reached out to the solicitor's office in person and by email.
So far, we have not gotten a response. We will bring you more once we get that response.
Let's turn to weather now as we take a live look outside. Look at that shot. Very nice from our Woodruff Road Sky Cam.
Absolutely gorgeous. But Chief Meteorologist John Cesarich joining us in the studio now. And John, we are talking about some storms.
Yep, storms out there, Gabrielle and Nigel, as you can see, and these thunderstorms continue to march off slowly to the south and southeast. Mainly south of Interstate 85, north of I-85, things are fairly quiet right now, just a couple of showers around the area, but it's really these clusters of thunderstorms that move through Spartanburg County, now beginning to move into the western part of Union County. These thunderstorms now start to move a little bit into Lawrence County, and the thunderstorms in Anderson now beginning to slide over into parts of Abbeville and also Greenwood County. So these thunderstorms will continue to make their way off to the south and southeast. Lots of lightning associated with these thunderstorms, very heavy rain and some gusty winds, but so far below severe limits. And we need rain badly, as you can see, as most of us are in a drought situation. And we're talking about an extreme drought for really extreme southwestern part of Pickens County, most of Oconee County, all the way in through northeastern Georgia. And that red, that is extreme. And then we're talking about in through the mountains, western North Carolina mountains. In most of Buncombe County, a severe drought continues all the way down into Brevard, Waynesville, Cullowhee, Franklin, and through the southwestern mountains of North Carolina. So the farther northeast you go, the less likely the drought is not as severe. The farther down you go, Interstate 85 toward Atlanta, it becomes an extreme drought. So we're in a drought situation, and any rain that we do get certainly is beneficial. Now back to you, Nigel and Gabrielle.
John, thank you very much. It's an annual event, Bears on the Move in the upstate, and showing up in the most unusual places.
Like right there behind us. While this movement is common, WYFF News 4's Tim Waller found the drought is only adding to the problem.
In the last couple of weeks, WYFF News 4 viewers have been capturing a lot of bear videos and pictures on their smartphones. So we came here to the Department of Natural Resources to find out what's going on.
A young male bear on the move in northern Greenville County, captured on someone's smartphone.
Downtown Travelers Rest. Mama bear and 3 cubs.
2 weeks earlier, this video on ULocal. A mama bear and her cubs in Travelers Rest. Officials say now is the time of year we're most likely to encounter bears.
Well, typically this time of the year, we have the young bears, young males particularly, they're dispersing. It's time for them to move on. So you have them trying to find a new home. The mating season for bears is this time of the year, June, July, early August. So you have a lot of movement by these big male bears going around trying to find a mate.
But Morton says this year, bears are also being affected by the drought, which has hurt the food supply. Less moisture means fewer blueberries and blackberries, so bears are on a quest for food.
When there's a food shortage in nature, then we realize there's going to be a lot more nuisance bears.
And just like these video captures prove, bears this time of year are everywhere. Morton says they're showing up in cities across the upstate, wherever their appetites take them. Tim Waller, WYFF News 4 in Clemson.
Continuing our Commitment 2016 coverage now, live pictures for you here as the Republican National Convention is underway. Started today in Cleveland, Ohio. 2,400 delegates and party leaders are working to unite behind Donald Trump and his new running mate, Mike Pence.
Today's theme, Make America Safe Again. Party Chairman Reince Priebus kicked off the 4-day event. He immediately asked for a moment of silence to remember those who have been killed in the U.S. in recent weeks.
I'd like to take a moment to recognize the fallen police officers in Baton Rouge, Dallas, and elsewhere. The men and women who protect our safety and well-being, who put their lives in the line every day. They're our genuine heroes.
Donald Trump's wife Melania is scheduled to speak tonight. Trump is also expected to make a cameo. As the Republican National Convention continues, you can follow along by heading to WYFF4.com or by downloading our mobile app. There you can find a list of speakers for the convention and a list of notable Republicans not attending this year.
Ahead tonight, we will take you to the field where Olympians train to become future gold medal winners.
Plus, why the Olympics, not just about the sport, it's also big business. We have some breaking news out of Germany. NBC is reporting a man attacked passengers on a train. The weapons used were an axe and a knife. Up to 15 people, we're told, have been injured.
Happening now, NBC reporting the man was shot dead by police. This incident happened on a train in Heidingsveld, that is about 74 miles east of Frankfurt. Police say it is too early to determine whether this incident might be terrorism related. We'll keep you posted.
All right, we want to turn to the Olympics now. You are about to meet two Olympic athletes who learned their sport from their parents.
Both are some of the many powerful stories behind the games. Todd Harris reports.
Greatness is often achieved far from glamour. With no shot put facility at his high school, Joe Kovacs learned his craft in a parking lot.
My mom was my coach when I first started out, and she coached me all the way throughout high school. She didn't know as much about throwing as she does now, but she knew a lot about coaching. So she got as many resources as she could, and she taught me along the way.
Kovacs spun his unorthodox ingredients into a recipe for a world championship in 2015.
26-year-old Joe Kovacs gives the U.S. its first gold of these world championships.
Kovacs is just part of a promising U.S. side in the field events. In London, Brittany Reese took gold in the long jump. While she remains a top contender, her teammate, Tiana Bartoletta, is the defending world champion. In the 1980s, Randall Cunningham brought fresh energy to the traditional role of the NFL quarterback. This year, his 18-year-old daughter, Vashti Cunningham, lit up the indoor track world championship with a jump no one could beat.
Cunningham becomes the youngest woman in 18 years and 63 days to win a world title in any indoor event.
In Rio, there seems no ceiling on what this young woman can do.
And live Super Doppler 4HD showing still some very heavy thunderstorms with lots of lightning and some gusty winds moving through Princeton. Just passed by Ware Shoals, around Cokesbury into Greenwood County, and now beginning to move into the city of Greenwood, but those thunderstorms have shown some signs of weakening. I'll be right back.
We are back with continuing coverage of breaking news. Last Friday, Turkey's cabinet is preparing to meet for its first regular session since the coup attempt. The government moved quickly after the coup to shore up its power. Some 6,000 people, including a number of generals, were detained. Right now, the country's parliament building is in ruins. It suffered major damage during the short-lived conflict last week.
First bomb was down, and then the second one, and then we went down to shelter. We stay here for the whole night.
Officials and politicians say they took shelter underground when the bombs started to fall and did not leave all night despite the direct threat posed by the coup.
Back in South Carolina, a grandmother and her 9-year-old granddaughter are dead in what authorities say was a double homicide in Darlington County. The coroner said Desire Davis, her grandmother Janice Copeland, were killed yesterday. They were found in their home near Darlington. The home where the victims were found is about a mile from the sheriff's office. SLED is also investigating.
Asheville police are looking for the person who dropped off a man at a hospital. That man later died. Take a look at these photos. Police say a man was dropped off from this SUV this morning at Mission Hospital. Police say the man you see here and the one you're about to see may help identify the man who died. They say these men are not considered suspects. The man who was dropped off needed medical attention and later died from his injuries. If you have any information that can help, you are asked to call this number for the Asheville Police Department.
In Spartanburg County, deputies say 2 women have been charged for stealing ammo from Academy Sports. Now, this happened yesterday. Officials say surveillance video from Academy Sports showed Ellie Hill and Lydia Whitner taking .22 caliber ammo and putting them into a large purse. However, store employees say both of the women later left the ammunition in the store's restroom. Deputies say Hill and Whitner were arrested on shoplifting charges.
Also in Spartanburg County, a barn was destroyed by a fire this morning. It was burning along Highway 292 near Hickory Hollow Road this morning. This is in the Inman and Lyman area. Firefighters had the highway blocked and traffic was backed up in both directions. Officials say the building was vacant with no power. Arson investigators are working on the cause of the fire.
Now your live Super Doppler 4 HD weather forecast.
Live Super Doppler 4 HD showing now these thunderstorms showing signs of weakening, thank goodness. They still never were severe, but they were producing a lot of lightning and some very heavy rainfall as they made their way through Spartanburg and also in through the Golden Strip area earlier and also around Anderson, especially between Anderson and south of Anderson. You folks in Williamston and also in Belton, Honeypath, very heavy thunderstorms, lots of lightning. Now these thunderstorms have slid off to the southeast, as you can see, and continue to make their way off to the south and southeast at about 15 to 20 miles per hour. More thunderstorms developing out here in the southwestern mountains of North Carolina and in parts of northern Georgia, but otherwise nothing strong, nothing severe, just very heavy rainfall associated with these thunderstorms. So live Super Doppler 4 HD showing things quiet across Asheville in Buncombe County, Hendersonville, Brevard, Waynesville, Cullowhee, Franklin, Bryson City, all looking pretty good. A little thunderstorm developing here in northwestern part of Swain County and also in through Clay County. Some thunderstorms developing, a couple of them there, and sliding off into across the line into North Georgia. You can see thunderstorm over Clayton, another little cell developing here just northwest of Travelers Rest. But here are those heavy thunderstorms that now have weakened considerably western Union County and also moving through the northern and central part thunderstorms of Greenwood County. So there's the thunderstorm around Hayesville, probably just to the southwest of Hayesville really, and moving down across the line into North Georgia. So we'll zoom in. These are the heavier thunderstorms earlier that moved through southern Anderson County and then eventually made their way into due west and now beginning to move into Greenwood. These thunderstorms, very heavy rainfall right along Highway 25 all the way up into Princeton. So tough going between Greenwood if you're commuting back into Greenville or from Greenville to Greenwood on Highway 25 because you'll be bumping into some very heavy thunderstorms with some lightning. Here's a lightning associated with this weakening thunderstorm just west of Union, continuing to move off to the east and southeast at about 20 miles per hour. So that's about it. And in Nashville right now, a live shot showing a big old thunderstorm developing here, a little towering queue just off to the northeast. Otherwise, farther northwest you go. Just partly sunny skies. Currently 81 degrees in Nashville, 88 degrees in Abbeville. About a quarter of an inch of rain has fallen at the Asheville Regional Airport since midnight last night. And at the GSP National Airport, over an inch and a quarter from those heavy thunderstorms just a couple of hours ago. How about 97 right now in Little Rock, 93 in St. Louis? This is the heat that's going to build out here in the Plain States over the next several days. And then a piece of that's going to arrive here as we head toward the upcoming weekend. All right, track of the tropics. Still, the Eastern Pacific is fairly active, but these systems weaken and move off to the north of the island chain. Here's the Hawaiian Islands right here. So each one of these tropical systems can pretty much move this way and then kind of die out. And here's Baja California, and here's the west coast of Mexico, and here's California right there to give you some idea where everything is. And these systems are no threat to land. And the Atlantic still remains very quiet. The Western Caribbean quiet, so is the Gulf of Mexico, the Western Atlantic, the entire Caribbean. Boy, I tell you, folks vacationing along the Lesser Antilles and the island chain are this is just unbelievable weather, really. It's just been beautiful for weeks now, and it's going to stay that way because even out here in the Central Atlantic, everything's very, very quiet. So that's your tropical update. All right, back home, here's our forecast then. Scattered evening showers or a couple thunderstorms around, low 74 degrees, 66 degrees in the mountains, very muggy conditions. For tomorrow, hot and humid conditions, high 96 degrees. Scattered thunderstorms developing a little bit earlier, I think, early in the afternoon across the area, and then developing early, I think, maybe even in mid-morning in the mountains with this front, and then sliding down into the upstate. So a pretty good chance of scattered showers and possibly a few heavy to severe thunderstorms. So we'll keep you updated on that. That front could settle to our south. As if it does, we dry out but really heat up as we head toward the end of the week and into the upcoming weekend. Now back to you, Gabrielle and Nigel.
Thank you, John. And now to our local shots of the day. Look at this gorgeous sunset, all that pink in there. This was taken in Travelers Rest. Very pretty.
And take a look at this beautiful sky over a farm in Townville this past Saturday. Keep those Pics come, and all you have to do is upload them to the local section of WYFF4.com, and you may see them right here on the air.
Sweden's Henrik Stenson won the 2016 British Open, and he did it in record fashion. First, he became the oldest first-time major winner at the age of 40. Second, he joined the 63 club by shooting 264 for the lowest score ever shot in a major. And third, each of his 9-hole scores were under par. To cap it off, Stenson became the first Swede to win a major championship in golf. This was the 4th consecutive major championship with a first-time winner.
President Obama gave out the Medal of Honor to a retired Vietnam War veteran today. Army Lieutenant Colonel Charles Kettles was honored. The 1967 then Major Kettles led a platoon of military helicopters to evacuate soldiers wounded in an ambush. Kettles is credited with saving the lives of 40 soldiers and 4 of his crew members. President Obama says Kettles serves as a great inspiration for us all. Coming up before the Olympic Games begin in Rio, how you can own a piece of history.
Well, the Olympics are not just about the sports, they're also about big business.
The Summer Games in Rio will have the largest athletes' village in Olympic history. We can now show you what it looks like and how people are getting to get a piece of the action. Here's a look at the Olympic Village in Rio. The complex includes 31 towers where nearly 11,000 competitors and 6,000 coaches and other personnel will stay during the games.
This is where the soul of the games will develop and where athletes will find the world famous Olympic spirit. The Olympic spirit is living together and looking for the same goal and being with people that has the same passion that you have.
But take a look inside. All this furniture.
Beds, couches, coffee tables, shower curtains, wardrobes, anything you might furnish a dorm room with.
It all has to go after the Olympics are over. Meet Howard Rosenberg. He's the CEO of a company called B-Stock Solutions.
So B-Stock was founded as a company that helps retailers, manufacturers, and other businesses get rid of excess inventory and assets in a more efficient way.
In other words, he's helping companies sell large amounts of stuff, Olympic stuff. Retail giants are already bidding on the furniture.
It really doesn't surprise me that there's a lot of interest, particularly around something as big as the Olympics. The idea that this furniture and these other pieces were actually used by these Olympic athletes that you're watching on TV for this 2-week period, people get excited about that.
Excited about having a piece of history even before the games begin and history is made. Now, bidding on the furniture has already begun.
You're leaving soon.
I am.
Can't believe it. The opening ceremony for the Summer Games in Rio is August 5th.
I'll see you there. Thanks for joining us for the news at 5.
News 4 at 6 with Michael and Carol starts now.
Live local breaking news. This is WYFF News 4 at 6.
It's times like these that you want to have the closest ties with your community ever.
Police agencies across the upstate reacting to the deaths of 3 officers in Baton Rouge. How officers here are staying vigilant.
And drama on the floor already on this opening day of the Republican National Convention, what we should all watch out for tonight.
But right now in Spartanburg County, the search is on for a teenager who disappeared while swimming.
This is happening on Lake Lyman right now, just off Jordan Road. It's the Lyman area, of course. First responders have been there since around 2 this afternoon. WYFF News 4's Mike McCormick live and local there tonight. Mike.
That lake is behind these homes here in this subdivision. You can see behind me as I step out of the way here, we've got first responders on scene and a lot of cars filling this subdivision. They belong to friends and family of the missing teenager. They're all gathered inside one of the homes here in this subdivision. We do want to show you some video from earlier from Sky 4. And just a few minutes ago, Spartanburg School District 5 officials confirmed that the teen divers are looking for is a member of the Burns High School football team. He is a rising junior at the school. The Spartanburg County Sheriff says a group of teens were having a swimming party behind one of the homes here. The sheriff says one of the teens went under and never came back up.
It didn't look like any wrongdoing was done, nothing of that nature. There wasn't any alcohol involved. It was just down here having fun at a place where kids can have fun. So.
And just a few minutes ago, Spartanburg School District 5 spokeswoman told me that administrators, coaches, and counselors are meeting with the Burns High School football team right now at Burns High School. Counselors are expected to be back at the campus tomorrow morning to meet with members of the team as well. For now, the search is going on at the lake behind these homes here in the Lyman area. Mike McCormick, WIFF News 4, live tonight in Spartanburg County.